This is AJ here at The Hero Informer, and we finally get a little bit more information, actual closure about what happened to Absolute Barry Allen. But not only that, here we actually see for the first time Absolute Flash in his final look in full form. Because as we begin, we get a little overview of what actually happened to Barry Allen that day that Wally West got his almost supernatural powers. The comic even goes on to narrate these different people inside of Wally's life, calling them moments of connection. Now, we aren't fully aware what or how these connections will play into the future, but for now, Dr. Barry Allen is number one. And just like before the series, Barry Allen just straight up dies here, or at least that's what we are led to assume. Wally West now, not only with this new and strange mysterious abilities, but also taking the life of someone he actually grown to care about, Barry Allen. He's just so scared, so unsure what to do. There's only one thing he can really think of: run. And that's exactly what he does. He runs out of the lab, out of the Fort Fox, the military base that they were in, and he doesn't look back. But here's kind of the almost horrifying part. Wally says he can feel something behind him, chasing him, which has to be something almost supernatural or superpowered, because as Wally is running at superhumanly fast speeds, something is still keeping up with him. But as he goes to clarify, he says no, not something, but someone. And that someone being none other than this twisted version of whatever Barry Allen is here. Wally West even goes on to confirm that yes, Barry died, his flesh being peeled off of his bones. But no matter how fast or far he runs, Barry Allen, he still feels almost tethered to him, connected. As even in the present, as he is running, we aren't sure if this is just all in his head, maybe some sort of vision, his guilt for accidentally killing Barry, coming back in a very visual form, or if this is actually real and something to do with his powers, as we see Barry Allen's charred and disgusting body still trailing behind, saying, "Help me." Now, something that I think will be really cool if this actually is the case, maybe when Wally West here first got whatever powers he has and whatever experimentation Barry was doing, it gave Wally the super speed, but accidentally sent Barry into whatever version of the Speed Force is in this Absolute universe. So that's why they're almost kind of connected, and Barry is still sort of alive, but his physical body is dead and he's just a bunch of bones. But again, I say that's a theory because in the present, Wally is as clueless as I am, as he even goes on to say, I can't do this anymore. I don't even know who I am, where I am, what I am. For right now, all I just need to do is slow down and to stop, finding a random barn and just sleeping in. But unfortunately for Wally, evil never sleeps. As you see on the flip side, the almost military task force of his most popular villains are still trailing behind and getting ever closer. Now this task force is going after Wally all to the order of his father, as of course, your son just got strange and crazy powers, killing your lead scientist Barry Allen and just running off. So his father, being in the position in the military he is, father wants his son back and he wants him back alive. So the team here has deployed their secret weapon, a little green monkey. This animal, of course, being this version of Gorilla Grodd, or more accurately, maybe Monkey Grodd, Chimp Grodd. Either way, as the monkey and Wally first make contact, we see that technically this isn't even their first occurrence or meeting, because previously before in the military base in a lab, they saw each other even if just in passing. So Wally trusts this animal a little more, as he points out the glowing tip of his finger for Wally to touch. Which, I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm not touching fingertips with this alien-looking green monkey staring straight into my soul. But as Wally does, something clicks and Grodd's psychic powers actually activate. As if you remember from the direct beginning, there's a bunch of different moments of connection, and now with Barry being one, Grodd is number two. As he kind of infiltrates Wally's mind, we see an overview of the things most pertinent on the forefront of his mind. From the argument and falling out with his father, to Barry getting obliterated and changed into whatever cosmic force he is now, to getting his powers and being where he is. Yet in the same fashion as Grodd digs deeper, we see that Grodd and Wally aren't too different and have a lot of similarities, as we found another moment of connection, being number three, his mother, who eventually went on to die and, his life spiraled from there. Yet that is very similar to what Grodd went through here. Him being a normal monkey at first, but then his mother being killed and him being taken away and experimented on, changed into whatever psychic monkey, superpowered meta animal he is now. Of course, Grodd picks up on the similarities and even goes on to say that him and Wally are essentially the same. Wally not even realizing that they're talking telepathically due to the monkey's influence and powers over him right now, but instantly they are interrupted by a strange rumbling from outside. So naturally they get up and go to check, only to find out that there is an enormous missile heading straight towards them, completely obliterating the barn that they were in. Of course, it seems like the rest of the task force actually found Wally, and instead, going against the wishes of his father to bring him in alive, are actually trying to kill him, or at the very least, harm him more than they should. So Wally, now seeing that they're coming, decides that he has to run, he has to go, he has to get out of here as he uses his powers. But it seems like every time he does, every time he even activates his super speed, all the visions, guilt, and fear comes rushing back to him, as almost Barry Allen's soul, his essence, haunts him, possibly in a very literal sense, them being tethered and connected. But it seems like Grodd here actually has his uses as he uses his psychic connection to Wally as he calms and clears Wally's head. The duo here teaming up, Grodd even turning his aggression, instead of it being focused on Wally to bring him in, now on his former teammates and the same people who experimented on him and turned him into whatever he is now. The task force even realizing that the monkey, Grodd, has gone rogue and is now working with the person that they're trying to capture and bring in. Captain Boomerang to specifically use full force, even using his boomerang tech to make himself a pair of wings to fly, which is pretty crazy and pretty out there for Captain Boomerang. Up to this point, though, Wally has only really used his powers defensively, running away, evading, being evasive to any attacks. But here, for the first time, he actually uses his powers offensively, using them to actually attack, telling himself and thinking in his head, no, I can't just run away, not anymore. So I stop, and for once, I face my problems head on, completely just decking and knocking Captain Boomerang out and away. And as there's a second of pause, normally Wally would just take this empty window and run away, get as far from these people as possible. But here, he has a new ally, Grodd, as they decide now to formally and actually team up and go side by side, which is a really cool and interesting new dynamic, you know, a Flash working with one of his worst villains, and they usually would be at odds, yet here they are way more similar than ever and actually working together. And with Wally's mind clear, thinking clearly for the first time since all of this happened, he finally starts to face all of his problems and what he has to do head on, as he even goes on to say, any life I knew before is gone, and I know now, I really know I can't go back. As he goes back to the spot where Barry's dead and charred bones are left, deciding to embrace whatever this situation he has found himself in, and again, like I keep saying, face it head on, as he grabs the gear and the suit that Barry was wearing and takes it for himself, with Wally continuing on saying, this is my life now and I can't outrun it, I just need to be here. And in realizing that, a calm washes over me and I feel something I haven't felt in a long time. I start to finally feel free, as we see this absolute Flash finally don his new suit, which is kind of cool. I mean, it has a real modern look. It kind of looks like an alternate version of Impulse's suit, which I'm kind of digging it so far. Though, could you imagine if all this time, even though Grodd and him seem to be on the same page so far, what if this was all a trick? Grodd was doing this, you know, acting buddy-buddy to manipulate him, and he's still working with the military and the team from before, except now taking a very close eye on him and even infiltrating his mind. But that is something that we're going to have to explore and see next time as this issue and video comes to a close. If you have enjoyed, leave a like or subscribe if you're new and want to see more content just like this. As always, this was AJ here at The Hero Informer, and thank you for watching.